Hey everybody, and welcome to the Short Film Ideas channel. My name is Chike Kamara, and today we're going to be talking about the anatomy of a short film idea. On the other side, let's go. Hi everybody, and welcome back. This is Chike Kamara, your host, and today we're talking about the anatomy of the short film idea. And personally, I have a process that I use that helps me to almost at will generate short film ideas. Um, and it's almost like I can turn on a faucet and come up with uh, ideas. So I usually pull on two sources um, to create these short film ideas. The first source is something personal to me. For example, if I'm thinking about something that happened in my life that was significant, sometimes a thought might come into my mind, hey, that would make a great film. And I don't say that would make a great short film. I don't say that would make a great feature film because I don't want to limit myself and I don't know actually where the story is going to go. So I just say, hey, that would make a great film. I think I want to do that or try to do it. Okay. And then there are external sources that I use. For example, I might, if I'm looking actively for new ideas that are not from my own personal experience, what I'll do is I'll start reading. I read stories online or read newspaper stories or I'll listen to the news and something will spark sort of an interest in me to say to myself, hey, that would make a pretty good film. Um, okay, so that's the first part. And the key to the first part is it has to be interesting. Like that's very important. If it's not interesting to you, then it's not going to be interesting to the audience. I mean, it could be, but if it's not interesting to you, it's going to be difficult for you to make it an interesting film in the end. Okay, so number one, it has to be an interesting story that you think would make a great film. Okay. Number two, I start asking questions. If I want to go further into this sort of seed of an idea, I start asking questions to ascertain whether um, this potential idea is compelling because interesting is good, okay, but interesting does not sell movie tickets. Interesting does not win awards um, on its own. It has to be compelling. If you think of some of most film festival entries, there's a reason why the judges picked these films, and usually, I'd say always, the judges picked it because they found it generally compelling in some way. Okay, and then think about the audience. The audience doesn't come to see a movie that's merely interesting. They want to see a compelling film that makes them think in some way, makes them feel a certain way, and stuff like that. Um, so when I say compelling, I mean if the idea has to, in some way, elicit some type of feeling inside me or some type of emotion inside me. Um, and if I can feel that, then I know that my audience can feel that, and I know that I have something to work with. So that's what I strive for there. Let me give you an example real quick before we continue. Okay, so let's say I'm sitting daydreaming and it's a beautiful spring day, and it makes me think of a time in my past when I was a little boy, and it makes me think of when I was a shy little boy, and it makes me think of my big brother who was a college athlete, and he was like very popular, and I looked up to him. I wanted to be him. So I say to myself, "Oh, that would be an interesting film to make, at least for me. It would be interesting." And so that would sort of plant the seed. That would be a seed of an idea. Our idea isn't there yet because we haven't fleshed it out, but at least I have a seed of an idea. And what would make it compelling is, first of all, when you have a relationship such as um, a little brother big brother dynamic, or a little sister big sister dynamic, or even a parent child dynamic, you already gonna this have an audience who can relate to that. Um, even if it's even if some of your audience members don't have any siblings, they can relate to that type of relationship through what they've learned, seen, and experienced throughout their life through other people, or through seeing stories that they connect with. Okay, so it really has the potential to be compelling on that level. And then to give it a tangible sort of a tangible example of why it would be compelling, or what, or to make it compelling in a tangible way, um, I can go with the shy versus popular thing. Okay, and if you know anything about films and short filmmaking, you want sort of clashes between elements there, because that creates conflict. And conflict is story, as you might hear throughout your story writing career, whether it be screenwriting, short film, screenplays, or if you get into novel writing. Conflict is story. And if you don't have conflict, you don't have nothing. You have sort of a boring, flat story. Okay, so it's a natural sort of conflict there for me to be shy, and then my big brother to be popular, and sort of like this all American type of jock type character. Okay, and knowing the dynamics of a big brother little brother relationship, um, there is going to be some a little bit of a clash there. Either the big brother is going to want his little brother, or urge his little brother to not be shy and to be more confident, or the little brother himself is going to want to be, popular, and also, and sort of like a popular figure, a cult figure, uh, like his big brother. Okay, so that being said, that clash creates a compelling situation. Okay, and it's compelling because you have plenty of questions you can ask, and you have a puzzle by which you can solve. You can have a problem you can solve. Once you have a problem to solve, um, then you can have a compelling story. So, um, I, you know, thinking about that story, let's say that again, I'm the shy 11-year old, and then I have a popular um, college, you know, sports playing big brother. And let's say my big brother was always trying to um, get me to come out of my shell, and to get me to be more confident. Okay. That is a problem that can be solved. And that type of problem that can be solved is compelling, because it creates a scenario in which the audience will have a question maybe in their mind. Well, how is he going to get out of that shyness? What's going to happen for that to happen? Okay. So that creates a compelling situation. Okay. So, all right. What we have so far, we have a good, solid seed of an idea, but we can't call it a short film idea yet, because we have to tighten it up a little bit. But so far, we're working with an interesting idea, an interesting seed of an idea. Okay. Then we have, and then that seed of an idea is compelling. Okay, on some level, some human level, it's compelling. Okay, so the next thing I do is I come up with an ending. Now, you might not know how are you going to end it right off the bat, but just write a few. And this is what I do: I write a few endings for my seed idea. Okay, you write a few endings, um, and I can use those endings as a compass towards which I can um, build my short film idea and eventually story and make the short film. Okay, so I start, I write down a few endings, a few possible endings for this seed idea. Okay, and a lot of times, sometimes, especially if you take from your personal experience, you might already have a story there that has a complete beginning, middle, and end. And then you can just go with that and develop that more and try to make it more compelling if you need to. Uh, but let's say in the case, all I have is that, I'm remembering that I was pretty shy when I was 11 years old, and my big brother was always cajoling me and pushing me to come out of my shell and be more confident. Let's say that's kind of the flash of memory I have. And I don't have a particular story to show that, this sort of, I didn't have an example of a story that could show how what he was doing was successful or that I came out of that shell. Okay, so let's say that I didn't have that. Okay, then that's where writing the three possible endings come into play. Okay, all right, so let's try to give it an ending. Okay, now remember, if you looked at the first video that I uploaded and or the first episode that I uploaded, and it was about short film structure secrets. And the a point I made in that video was that you want your endings to have both a literal and physical ending and a figurative sort of thematic ending at the same time. If you have that, that makes it more powerful. Okay. But if you have just physical, just a literal ending without any thematic ending there, then it's kind of difficult to pull off. It's weaker. Okay. So you want something to do both. Okay. So I'm going to write down three endings that I think um, fits fits the bill for both a literal physical ending and a figurative thematic ending as well. And let me just go over a couple of examples. Like literal endings could be walking away, returning home, finishing a task. For example, let's say you had a story about a scientist who, or a programmer who uh, creates or engineer who creates the world's fastest car. And let's say all throughout the film, there are challenges and obstacles, and he can just never get it done. And he fails and he loses money on buying patents and everything. And let's say at the very end, he completes his task and it's successful, and he successfully creates the world's fastest car. So that is a literal ending. He completes the task, okay? So you can have actual physical, literal endings. Then you can have figurative or thematic endings that are physical as well, but that have deeper meanings outside of just a regular active ending. For example, you can have crying, you can have loving, you can have, I mean, not loving, you can have crying, hugging, touching. For example, Crying could signify the end of a chapter in a character's life, and you can have that at the very end of the film as well. Or crying could signify the beginning of something, the beginning of a new love, the beginning of a reconciliation between a kid and a parent, okay, or something like that. So these figurative endings signify something deeper towards the theme um, that you have been working on throughout your film, okay? So again, you have literal, physical endings, and then you have figurative, thematic endings, okay? So I try to write some endings down that satisfy both types of endings, which will be much stronger. Okay. So let's say that we have the story about the shy 11-year-old boy and his relationship with his all star um, big brother who plays college ball. And let's say I want to write some endings to it. And I'll give you one example in the interest of time, but let's say that I gave it an ending such as the little boy kisses the girl next door to impress his big brother. Okay. Um, I should go back a little bit. Like I said, when I was younger, I was a shy sort of 11-year-old, and my brother, he was popular and just an all American type. And he would always try to get me to come out my shell and to be more confident. So my goal was always to try to get there for him and to try to impress him and show him that I did it so that he can accept me. And so that's why wrote that particular ending. So let's see if that ending, the little boy kisses the girl next door to impress his big brother. Let's see if that satisfies both a literal physical and a figurative thematic ending. So the boy kisses the girl next door. Yes, that is a physical ending. The kiss is an actual physical um, physical thing that takes place, physical event that takes place. Um, and I chose to put it at the end, so it's a physical ending. Yes, but the boy kissing the girl can also be a figurative um, ending as well. It could signify the beginning of his relationship with this girl or new friendship or whatever. It could signify the fact that he has left his shyness behind. It could signify that he is his new confidence. Okay. It could signify if we want to stick to endings, you can look at it another way. It could signify the ending of his shyness. It could signify the end of his low self-esteem or whatever have you. But you see how um, the act of him kissing the girl has both a literal physical um, meaning, and then it also has a figurative thematic one. Okay, so that's pretty strong. Okay, all right. So we have something here. We have something to work with. We have we have an interesting idea, an idea that we're interested in and that we think would be interesting. We have B, a compelling. The story can be compelling just based on a relationship between a shy 11-year-old boy and his all star big brother. Okay. And then we have an ending. The little boy kisses the girl next door to impress his big brother. Okay. And now we have to fill in some gaps to kind of bring everything together. But that ending is a compass through which or towards which I can start to build the idea out. And the important thing about short films ideas for me is that if you can explain your ideas and infer a beginning, middle, and end, then you have a good chance of putting together a pretty good short film every time. Um, let's say you're trying to get um, financing from someone so that you can do your short film. If you can say my short film idea is about XYZ, and X is infers the beginning and Y infers the middle and Z infers the end, then it will be understood by the listener. Okay? So now we can go back and try to work on a beginning. Okay? So we can start to write out a rough structure here. Okay? All right. So let's see. I'm going to throw this out here. Big brother makes a bet with his little brother that he can't kiss the girl next door. Okay, let's say that that's the beginning. Let's say that that's our beginning. We already know for the end that he kisses the girl next door and he does it and he impresses. Let's say he impresses or he's trying to impress his big brother. So we can start it with a beginning such as big brother makes a bet with his little brother that he can't kiss the girl next door. Okay, there's a lot inferred there. First of all, the big brother essentially, in his way, is trying to get his little brother out of his shell. Okay. Second of all, it is a challenge that the little boy can take to try himself to impress his big brother. Okay. All right. So notice that I have sort of like a mirroring going on here. Okay. I took my ending and I said, what can I do to start off this film that would point towards the end? And then I thought of some scenarios there, and then I came up with the big brother making a bet with his little brother that he can't kiss the girl next door. Okay? So we have a beginning. It's a beginning to work with. So again, notice how it points towards creating something at stake for the little boy as well. It points towards the end. Okay. All right. So let's see what happens in the middle. Maybe an event of some kind can happen in the middle to kind of twist everything around, perhaps. So again, in the beginning, something happens. In the middle, something happens. And in the end, something happens. Okay. So we have um, physical events that happen that move the story forward. Okay. You see how that works? So the big brother physically makes a bet with his little brother that he can't kiss the girl next door. And the terms of the bet, I'm going to figure out when I start to write the actual screenplay. But what we're doing is we're coming up with a short film idea. Okay. So I'm not going to spell everything out right now. That's what you work on once you have the idea. But we're trying to finalize an idea here so that we can move to the next step, which is actually writing the short film. Okay? So remember, in the beginning, something happens. In the middle, something happens. In the end, something happens. So for our beginning, we have the bet. The big brother makes a bet with his little brother. Okay? In the end, we have the kiss. The little brother kisses the girl next door to impress his big brother. Okay? All right, so let's get to work on the middle. So we have a bet that the little girl can't kiss that the little boy, his little brother, can't kiss the girl next door. In the end, he kisses the girl. So we can use the middle to be a bit of a twist, okay, to make it more interesting, okay. Um, Short films have a little wiggle room in terms of setting up characters, plot, and action. So a short screenplay must be catchy in some way as well. Um, and it doesn't have to be over the top, and it doesn't even you don't even have to have a twist, but uh, having a twist makes it interesting, and it's your choice or not. But I feel like for this particular idea, I can try to put a twist in there, okay? And I want to invoke some sort of feeling, okay? And I'm always looking for how to invoke some sort of reaction, feeling, emotion for me and for the audience, okay? Um, so let's say the middle or midpoint, let's say I want to shake up things a little bit. So using the example that we have, let's throw a curveball. Let's say the little boy is rejected by the little girl, and meanwhile, his big brother dies in a car accident before the little boy can make good on the bet. Whew, that's a tough one. But I'm always looking for dramatic ways to sort of shake things up. And the more you can do that, the more compelling the story can be. And I think that's a pretty good one. And another thing you can do is you can write. You remember how I said you can write three endings to go with your seed idea? You can also write three beginnings. You can write a few middles. And you pick the ones that are most compelling. I always pick the ones that have um, some sort of literal physical event that happens, and something that where the theme is touched upon. Okay, and we'll get into themes and short films in later episodes, but this is kind of how I do it. So just to refresh, you have your seed idea. It's interesting. You're interested in doing it. You determine whether it can be compelling enough to move forward. Then you write a few endings to the seed idea to um, determine if you can have a viable ending. If you cannot write an ending for your seed idea, then you should not be doing it, in my opinion. Then you should be looking at something else. Okay? So come up with an ending for your short film. Then at least you know you have an end, and the beginning and the middle are much easier to put together, because sometimes you can have a great ending and a kind of a weak beginning and middle, but that great ending can help pull the film through. Anyway, all right, so yeah, so then you do that, and then after you have your ending and your seed idea, you start fleshing out the idea and making it whole. And then you go back to the beginning. You can write out a few beginnings that can kind of mirror or touch upon or foreshadow the end. Okay. And then after that, you can take a few, for the middle, you can write a few scenarios, um, which can really pull in the audience. I like to a lot of times throw something in there that kind of throws a curveball into the scenario in the middle there. But you don't always have time to do that, and you don't always have to do that. Sometimes, if you're doing a 2 minute film, you can stay kind of you can keep your middle, kind of straight line instead of throwing a curveball. But it has to be compelling, and it has to be something must happen physically, and you're always looking to touch upon the themes. Okay, you're looking so in this example, you have the theme of um, family, which is brother, and which is big brother, little brother. You have a theme of respect, which is between the little brother and the big brother. And you have several other themes. You have themes of love, which, the little boy could have for the girl next door. There are a lot of themes that can be touched upon, but at least try to touch upon those themes. So we have the middle. All right. So let me go over what I have so far. All right. For the end, for the beginning, we have big brother makes a bet with the little brother that he can't kiss the girl next door. For the middle, we have the boy is rejected by the little girl, and the big brother. Meanwhile, the big brother dies in a car accident before the little boy can make good on the bet. And for the end, we have the little boy kisses the girl next door to impress his big brother. Now, you could say, okay, well, his big brother isn't alive by the time we get to the end. Well, you have the theme of spirituality. Okay? There's a spiritual bond between siblings and family. And it can be something whereas you can look at it as, oh, his brother is watching down from heaven. This is a rite of passage. He makes good on the bet, even though his brother is not present, but maybe he's watching over him. Okay. All right. So we have a beginning and a middle and end. And remember, when you come up with short film ideas, try to infer in your idea a potential beginning, middle, and end. That way you'll know for sure whether you have something to work with. Okay, if you cannot come up with an ending, then nix it and go to something else and try something else. Okay. All right. So let's put it together. Let's put everything together. Okay. So the bare bones structure is a big brother makes a bet with his little brother that he can't kiss the girl next door. The little boy is rejected by the little girl, and his brother dies in a car accident before the little boy can make good on the bet. And then finally, the little boy kisses the girl next door to impress his big brother. Okay, so that is not bad at all. It's compelling. It has an actionable beginning, middle, and end. Now, you can tweak the sentences together to make it a little more coherent. So let's try. Okay, again, beginning, big brother makes a bet with him. Middle, little boy is rejected and his big brother dies. And end, the little boy kisses the girl next door. Okay, so very good opportunity to make a cute and compelling short film that could be film festival worthy. What we're trying to do is make a compelling film, and hopefully it will be seen by people at film festivals. Let me put those pieces together. Okay, here's the idea. It's a rough idea, and I'm going to have to clean it up. But here's the idea. A big brother makes a bet with his little brother that he can't kiss the girl next door. The little boy is rejected by the little girl, and his big brother dies in a car accident before the little boy can make good on the bet. But finally, the little boy kisses the girl next door to impress his big brother. Okay, it sounds a little clunky, so let's try to make it flow a little bit. But we have the idea. That's the idea. Now we just have to sort of make it all succinct and gel a little bit better. Okay. Let's try again. A big brother makes a bet with his little brother that he can't kiss the girl next door. The little boy is rejected by the little girl after attempting. Meanwhile, his big brother dies in a car accident before the little boy can make good on the bet. When the little girl visits the boy's house to offer condolences, she kisses the little boy on the cheek. By making good on the bet, the little boy knows he's impressed his big brother who is watching from heaven. Hmm. So we have something there. Okay. So this is a very PG or G rated um, film. She kisses him on the cheek. I mean, um, that doesn't, you know, it's not a kiss on the mouth, but we're working with something here. Okay, so that's better. That's much better. Okay. It reads like a complete thought and it has a beginning, middle, and end inferred. Sounds good. I mean, he still makes good on the bet. He got the kiss from the girl, and this still can ignite his confidence, even though the kiss. I mean, his definition of kiss is kiss. He doesn't have to, you know, be making love to the to the girl or whatever. So, um, so yeah, and I like the little touch at the end where he's impressed his big brother who is watching from heaven. Okay. All right. So that's the idea I came with. It's a cute story. Um, um, yeah. So that's how I come up with my ideas. And let me recap so you can understand. And then I'm gonna have a 10-day short film idea challenge where I go through the process 10 times, not 10 times a day, but 10 different times, 10 different days, consecutive days, hopefully. And you'll see how I come up with it, and then you'll understand where I'm coming from. Okay, that is coming soon. All right. So again, you come up with the seed of an idea. You come up with a seed idea that's interesting. That's first and foremost. It has to be interesting. And it has to be interesting to you because if it's interesting to you, it's interesting to other people. Okay. So then you have to determine if the story can be compelling enough. Okay. So it's interesting, and then you determine whether the story is interesting enough. I mean, compelling enough to move forward. Okay. Once you determine, yes, it's compelling, then you write down a few endings. Or if you already have a story already fleshed out that you want to recount event by event, then you can do that. Then it's much easier. But if you don't, write out a few endings or write out one if you know the ending that you're definitely going to use. But it better have a physical ending and a figurative ending at the same time because that will tie everything up into a nice little bow for the audience and you'll be happy you did that. Okay? So you have your ending now. Then you go back and you develop your beginning. Something has to happen. Remember, in all three phases, something has to happen. Okay? It can't be, theory. You have to have something physically happen, and hopefully you touch on a theme in each part, your beginning, your middle, and end. Okay? And so what you do is you write out a few beginnings as well. Okay? And it's good if you reflect that beginning to the end. If you reflect it to the end in some way, then you have a very good chance of making um, a very tight film, a very good, compelling short film. Okay? So you write out a few beginnings, and then you pick the one that you feel is strongest. And, I gave you some ideas of how to determine how strong a beginning, middle, and end is, and that's through the literal and physical devices the literal and figurative devices we talked about. Okay. All right, and then you do the same thing for the middle. You pick out a few sort of middle portions, and you choose the one you think that best fits. I like to throw a twist in there, so I'll come up with a few twist a few ideas that will sort of throw a wrench into things, but also still, stick close to the theme, or stick close to the line of action that we're developing. Okay. And then I pick the best one from there. And then I build it into a rough idea that infers the beginning, middle, and end when I'm, recounting it back to somebody or when I'm reading it back to myself. Okay. And then I try to sharpen everything up and tighten everything up until I can get it into a few sentences, very succinct, that gives me an idea of what the beginning, middle, and end will be. And then I'm done. I have the idea. I have a good short film idea. If you follow this process and you understand what I'm saying and you follow it, then you can come up with great film ideas. And then it becomes much easier as you do it more and more. Okay? So that is it. It's a very long video, but hopefully I've taught you a process that can help you to come up with great short film ideas. And don't forget to um, look out for my 10-day short film idea challenge, where every day for 10 days I come up with a short film idea. And those should serve as great examples to you of how the process works. Okay? All right, so I'm done. That was a lot. Take care. Love you. Wait, as a postscript to this episode, uh, this particular idea that I came with actually was a screenplay finalist, and it got produced into a short film and was screened in New Mexico and San Diego as well. So there you go. All right. See you next time.